In our lineup this Thursday, flu season is starting soon, and that's bringing up concern over how effective the flu shot is. And we're getting an inside look at progress on a new vaccine. And the number of people over the age of 65 either working or looking for work is at a more than 50-year high. So what you should be doing to get into a better place financially. And Nextdoor, the website that connects us with our neighbors, is getting us talking about how we're treating each other online. We're getting into the bigger conversation about being civil online.
Thank you, Annie. I'm Amanda Starantino, and this is the Now Indy on RTV6. More than 100 cyclists are riding across the country to raise money for cancer research. It's all part of Coast to Coast for Cancer. And one of the relay teams took off from Indy today, getting a send-off at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. Our Alyssa Donovan shares their story and their message.
These riders are cycling from Indianapolis to Pittsburgh, 450 miles. One leg of the cross-country relay ride that started on the West Coast and will end on the East.
Everyone who's participating in the ride has been touched by cancer in some form or fashion.
My mom passed 6 years ago. She had breast cancer, and then I had two uncles who both had lung cancer.
Tanya Wilhite finished her leg of the ride last week. She rode from Salt Lake City to Denver.
It's the least I could do to help support family, friends, raise awareness.
Awareness for people like Carlin Burt, who has prostate cancer. He's celebrating 4 years in remission.
You don't know how much you mean to people until something like this happens to you. And I have some of the best friends, family members, and just people that I didn't know I meant that much to them. And it's literally changed my whole perspective on life.
And with this ride, he wants to inspire those still fighting.
It means everything because, you know, you're giving hope to others that are going through the struggle right now.
The money raised goes to the V Foundation, which funds cancer research.
One of the big differentiators about our organization is we have an endowment that covers all of our costs of operation. So that enables us to dedicate 100% of all donor dollars to research.
Research that helps people diagnosed with cancer like Bert continue living and making more memories like these. I'm Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. And if you would like to donate to the Coast to Coast for Cancer bike ride or follow the cyclists, you can visit cancerbikeride.org. Kyle.
Continues to feel like summer in September, and yes, technically still summer here in central Indiana. Fall will be right around the corner, though. Some beautiful sunshine out there as we made it into the upper 80s this afternoon. We continue with dry weather here, not only across central Indiana, but really much of the Midwest. We go back toward the Mississippi River. That's where we find a few showers. That's not going to be a factor in our forecast. In fact, I think we're going to keep most of the state dry here until Sunday. That's our next best chance for some wet weather coming our way. Right now, the temperature 84 degrees in downtown with a southwest breeze. We've got our temperature 84 as well in Kokomo, and with sunny skies, 86 for you in the Bloomington area. If you are heading out for maybe a bite to eat this evening or getting in that evening walk or jog, we've got our temperature 82 for you at 7 o'clock. We'll get into the middle 70s by 8 with that sun setting at 7:47. Well, we're counting the days. Autumn begins in 4 days. Then we get our way to Halloween in a little bit over a month, and daylight saving time coming to an end. We'll take a look at the next few days of your forecast in a few minutes. Annie.
The Washington Monument is back open today after being closed for renovations for nearly 3 years. First Lady Melania Trump joined a group of D.C. fourth graders for the ribbon cutting. She then took the first ceremonial ride up in the renovated landmark. Corey Rangel shows us what has changed.
The Washington Monument is one of Washington, D.C.'s most iconic sites. Today, for the first time in years, it's back open to all of us.
Such a good feeling to have it open.
Tickets for the day sold out in 2 hours. Stephen Dix got in line at 3:30 this morning to make sure he got in.
I would have got up earlier if I had to have. If I had to be here at midnight, I'd have been here at midnight. I just wasn't going to leave D.C. without going up there.
Stephen is visiting from Kansas and wanted to make one more memory to take back home.
It's historic, and it's the best views in the city. And I just didn't want to miss it after being closed all these years. It's one of the main reasons to come out here.
The Washington Monument towers 555 feet above the district, providing panoramic views from the top.
You're coming up and you are looking at the Lincoln Memorial, the Jefferson Memorial, the Capitol, the White House.
But that bird's eye view has been out of reach for the public for most of the past 8 years.
We just had an earthquake.
First, because of an earthquake in 2011 that damaged the structure. Then problems with the elevator closed it for the past 3 years. After spending millions in repairs, it's now back open with a new elevator and enhanced security, which includes a new blast-proof entry with X-ray machines and metal detectors.
In this day and age, it is simply the security that's required for an iconic building like the National Monument.
If you plan on visiting D.C., admission to the Washington Monument is free. So that price tag, along with those stellar views, make it one of the most popular sites in the district. The National Park Service estimates 500,000 people will visit the monument each year. In Washington, D.C., I'm Corey Rangel reporting.
Thanks, Corey. Well, getting back to our lineup, it's time to get your flu shot with the flu season starting soon. So one reason you may think about skipping it is because of concerns about how much it will actually protect you. Well, ahead, we're getting a look at progress on a universal vaccine that would make sure you're covered.
And Keller, right now.
Flu season is upon us, and this year, public health leaders predict it could be severe. According to the CDC, the best way to protect yourself is to get vaccinated. But flu shot effectiveness has been a question for previous years, and so Usher Qureshi is looking into the progress to make a vaccine that works better and even longer.
We make them fat and happy, and then we add the virus.
For the last 5.5 years, Amy Asplund has literally been living with the flu virus.
Not beautiful.
Inside Vivaldi Biosciences laboratory, researchers are growing the flu virus and then killing it. Their search for a universal flu vaccine has already shown increased protection in ferrets.
This is a very promising technology. We just have to get it into humans and find out if that translates into the people.
According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, getting the flu shot reduces the risk of illnesses by 40 to 60%. But that's only when scientists accurately predict which strains will affect people the most.
Those are infected cells.
Over the last 15 flu seasons, it's only been a good match on average of about 44% of the time. Last year, about 40 million people got the flu, and the CDC estimates at least 36,000 people died from flu-related illnesses last year.
It's actual flu virus.
In 2009, the H1N1 virus caused the first global influenza pandemic in more than 40 years.
I think that is a big part of it. The seasonal is certainly an issue and a problem, and we have plenty of loss of life and health concerns with that. But the pandemic could potentially be catastrophic.
It's why companies like Vivaldi Biosciences and more than a dozen others are on the quest for a vaccine with broader protection.
Our vaccine can be manufactured in 7 weeks. It's a cell-based system. We use a mammalian cell culture. We have a very robust, reliable, scalable vaccine manufacturing that we've done multiple times for human trials.
And though not everyone thinks a universal vaccine is practical, scientists like Asplund believe it is, something she hopes can become a reality within the next 5 years. Reporting from Fort Collins, Colorado, I'm Usher Qureshi.
Usher, thank you. Well, more to get to in our lineup. A record number of baby boomers are working longer or starting a new job after they retire. So what's driving this, and what could get you in a better spot with your money?
RTV6 is working for you.
Turning to the Now newsfeed, a big milestone for Facebook. You've likely seen the fundraiser some of your friends may have taken part in. Well, the social media network says it's just hit $2 billion raised for various causes. St. Jude has received more than $100 million alone. And Toys R Us is trying to continue its comeback as the holiday shopping season approaches. Its new owner has teamed up with Candytopia. That company specializes in candy exhibits that are interactive. And this will be available first in Chicago and Atlanta. Well, if you like to order your Starbucks via the app, you'll enjoy this next story. The company is launching a new store that's pickup only. It's being tested in New York City, but no word on when that store will open. For the second time in just 2 months, the Federal Reserve has lowered its benchmark interest rate to a range of 1.75% to 2%. It's an effort to ward off a recession. So while it may help the economy down the road, it's not necessarily helping us if we're trying to save. Banks generally cut down on annual percentage yield rates on savings accounts when the federal interest rate goes down, and that means some of us may see changes in our accounts. Our experts at bankrate.com say if you're not earning at least 2% on your savings account, you need to start shopping around.
Too many people have their money sitting in a bank earning something like 0.1%, and it just makes no sense. So you put your money in a savings account because you want it there when you need it, but losing ground to inflation each and every year is eroding the buying power of that money. It's worth less each year.
Online savings accounts will typically have better rates because they save on operational costs. And just like traditional banks, they are FDIC insured. But another option out there, certificates of deposit or CDs. The benefit here is that you give your money to the bank for a certain amount of time. The rate will be permanent during that time span. Well, it's almost that time again. Yes, the holidays are just around the corner, and if you plan to travel, you'll need to get your plans in order by next week. AAA says holiday travelers should book their flights as early as September 25th to get the best deals. Now, this applies to both Thanksgiving and Christmas, and you may have some luck finding deals 1 or 2 weeks before the holiday. And while traveling may be something we enjoy, the process of getting there can be stressful. According to a survey by Priority Pass, more than half of us, or more than half of people, are stressed about getting stuck in traffic on the way to the airport. And almost half of travelers say baggage claim is what stresses them out the most. But surprisingly, the least stressful part was boarding the plane.
Well, thank you, Annie. This evening, the city of Indianapolis announcing help for college students who are at risk of dropping out because of a lack of money. Mayor Joe Hogsett and a city organization called Indy Achieves says local universities see a significant number of qualified students drop classes due to money problems. So today, the city announced a new grant called the Indy Achieves Completion Grant, which will help students at IUPUI and Ivy Tech in Indianapolis. The grant is designed to help cover financial shortfalls affecting students' ability to pay academic costs. The mayor says college students have more on their plate than ever before.
Today, a typical college student lives independently of both their parents and campus housing. They work a job, sometimes several, and actually 40% of all college students today, or 40% of those who are in college today, work full-time.
Again, the Indy Achieves Completion Grant will be available for students to stay enrolled or re-enroll at Ivy Tech Indianapolis and at IUPUI.
Right.
Ditch the keys and grab your bike, a scooter, or the bus. Tomorrow is car-free day in Indy. You are encouraged to leave the car behind and walk, bike, scooter, or ride an Indigo bus to work. You can even make a difference by carpooling. And remember, Indigo's Red Line is free for the rest of the month. If in the morning, you can gather with other carless people on Cummins Plaza downtown. That's on East Market Street. There will be a DJ and food from Wild Eggs. That's from 7 to 9 a.m. And during lunch, go to Monument Circle, where there will be Chick-fil-A and a band playing from 11 to 1. So leave the car at home in the morning and try another way to get around. Hopefully the weather will cooperate for us.
And it looks like it should, Amanda, which is nice because the last several days have been pretty good to get out there, maybe on the bike, as we've had warm, dry conditions. You really haven't needed to put the shorts away yet, and hold on to those the next few days. Temperatures right now into the 80s, 82 right now for you in Crawfordsville, 83 in Tipton and Greensburg, coming in with a pair of 8s on the thermometer. It's 84 in downtown. We'll slide back into the middle 60s tonight with partly cloudy skies. Light southwest wind force at 5 miles per hour. And once again tomorrow, those temperatures warming pretty quickly for us. We'll be at 70 degrees at 9 a.m. already knocking on the door of 80 for your lunch hour, and we'll get into the lower and middle 80s tomorrow afternoon with a few more clouds around than what we've had today. 87 for your afternoon high in Bloomington, 85 in Noblesville. Keep in mind the average high 76 degrees, so we're talking about numbers about 10 degrees warmer than they should be for this time of year. Now, we talked about increasing the cloud cover tomorrow. You notice at 8:30 in the morning on TrueCast showing some scattered showers in Illinois. That's still drawing into the drier air that we have here, so not expecting to see much, but a stray shower can't entirely rule that out here as we go through our Friday, but then right back into the dry weather on Saturday with quite a bit of sunshine here. Nice start to the weekend, 87 for that afternoon high, and as we get into Sunday, that's where we get a little better chance for some showers and storms, but I do think much of the day is going to be dry. It's into the late afternoon and evening that we get in on some of that wet weather. A high of 84 on Sunday. Then on Monday, fall officially arrives and the weather will feel like it with a few showers in the morning and a high of 76. Annie?
A number of baby boomers are now working well beyond retirement age. Kai Beach is looking into why and what you could be doing to get into better financial situations.
Having to work quite literally until they die.
At age 68.
Thanks, Audra.
Stuart Smith is still working behind the bar.
Can I get you another White Claw?
Making a little extra money. He retired a few years ago from a career in healthcare. And even with Social Security and retirement checks coming in,
you don't look like a runner.
He still wants more of an income.
Enough money to keep the wolves from the door, I suppose. Like I say, I'm doing this just for the extra cash.
We're learning there's now more people like Smith in the workforce. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reports about 20% of Americans over the age of 65 are either working or looking for work, which represents a 57-year high.
People are living longer life now, and more importantly, they are living healthy life.
MSU Denver professor Kishore Kulkarni wrote a book on economics.
Slowing trend is the new normal.
And he tells us with less pensions available, it's not a surprise more people are working past their retirement age.
Baby boomers will have to work a little harder to pay for their bills.
To find out just how much harder people will have to work, we went to Fidelity Investments.
At age 40, we're recommending that someone is saving 3 times their salary.
Ryan Smith is breaking down the numbers you need to know to live comfortably. Saying if you want to retire at age 67, you need 10 times the amount of your salary saved, which can include your 401k, bank account, and any other savings.
It's really taking the time to plan and make sure that you were able to put the pieces together before it's that point where you're trying to make the decision.
Thanks, Kai. Well, checking in on the news feed, the NBA is continuing its mission to address mental health. It's now telling teams to have a mental health staff. Over the past years, several players have gone public with their battles with issues like panic attacks and depression. A new study in the New England Journal of Medicine is shedding light on a rare condition. The study focuses on a woman in Rhode Island who came to the ER blue. She had a rare condition where oxygen isn't transported properly. Fortunately, doctors have identified a treatment. Well, do you use hand sanitizer regularly? A new study says it may not be working as well as you think in certain cases. Researchers in Japan found that if you had mucus still in your hands, the sanitizer didn't kill in the germs as well. But experts do note that other studies have gotten contrasting results. An update now to a story we told you about earlier this summer. It involved a study that said the use of phones led to people, specifically millennials, growing horns on a part of their skull. Shortly after its publication, the study was quickly called into question by experts. And now the team behind the research says there were errors, and they say they can no longer validate the technology causes horns. iPhone users can now get a new software update. This comes as Apple gets ready to launch its latest iPhone. The software comes with a number of improvements, including security. There's also an effort to combat robocalls, so the iOS 13 will try and send those calls straight to your voicemail. And if you have a place that you call frequently, maybe it's a restaurant, you may want to make them a contact so they don't get sent to your voicemail. Nextdoor, the website that connects us with our neighbors, is getting us talking about how we're treating each other online, how it's trying to get us to be more kind, and the bigger discussion it's bringing up about being civil online.